Yeah, aloha again. I'm Island Emery on the 9 from the Little Grass Shack at lgsvegas.com. Today, my special guest is Charlie Rivero, right? Or Rivero?
Correct.
Okay. Now, Charlie, I know we've have a mutual friend, and as Las Vegas is the entertainment capital of the world, you're a musician, and well, you pretty much play all instruments. Is that correct? Or guitarist, or bass guitarist, or?
Yeah, I do. Mainly, I'm a drummer. Actually, I've been drumming
drummer.
for
Okay.
over. Yeah. No, I've been drumming for over 38 years. But I play guitar, I play bass, I play keys. I'm a composer, so I do a lot of my own recordings and a lot of production.
Right. So, how did you get to Las Vegas?
Well, it's kind of a weird thing because I lived in Riverside, California.
Okay.
I was born in Torrance, California. My family was from Argentina. They're deceased, but I don't have much family except for my daughter. But when my parents were wanting to come out to Vegas, I kind of thought to myself, that's a little crazy because it's the desert.
Right.
But it's the weirdest thing because honestly, when you think about it, when you say Vegas, people think of the main, strip and everything else, but there's so much outside of that.
Right.
That, growing up as a kid, I was young, growing up as a kid and coming back and forth to Vegas, all I knew was staying at a hotel and playing games at Circus Circus. I never knew the outside of that, And so, you sit there and spend $20 and win like a little stuffed dinosaur or something like this big that probably cost them half a cent to make,
Right.
And that's all I knew. I graduated high school a year and a half early and then, came out to Vegas with my parents. And then I tried going to social science of marine biology in San Bernardino, but there was so much going on and something going on with the counselors and the schools and stuff. And I just stayed away from it.
Right. So just kind of just like, you know what, man, I'm kind of tired of this, man. You guys didn't get it straight. I'm just going to go back and kind of just reflect on myself. Yeah. Is that what it is?
Yeah. I got to say, for an institution that were very unorganized, I still learned a lot within the time that I was there. But I think communication with one another, I think, is like the biggest key. And a lot of these guys would talk at you instead of with you.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of times I just wanted to flip them the bird so they can talk at that.
I'm with you.
And so I kind of left that behind, but always being a musician and always kind of doing my thing. As a kid, before I moved to Vegas, I've always wanted to play the drums. And I remember like at 6 years old, watching this program on television, and it was from like Brazil, something crazy. And they would dress. I mean, I'd never seen anybody dress like that. There was like gold silk pants but they were from Brazil. But they were doing the most astounding stuff on percussion and drums. And I was like, I want to do that. So I started digging into my mom's clothes and I started wearing all kinds of weird stuff. And which doesn't sound right, but
that doesn't sound right, Charlie. It does not sound right.
No. But I wanted to be like that, and so I kind of blew it off as a kid. And my dad, God bless him, he got me my first drum kit, and he hid it in the garage, and he pretended that he was mad at me. He says, you're in trouble. I need you to go out and clean the garage. I was like, oh man, what did I do? I'm thinking, what did I do? Because I knew, I know I was capable of causing problems, but I was trying to think, what did I do? But either way, so I go, I'm all, kicking the rocks and I'm all pissed off as a kid. And I open the garage door and there's this drum kit, and I would just pound away and just do my thing really until one of my sister's boyfriend at the time. I remember he came out one day and he says, I don't know why you even bother. You're not going to really mount to anything,
Wow.
And
Well,
didn't I just kind of, yeah, you know, I think I can tell you now what I feel about it. Then I was just, you know, one of those things where I was like, man, I don't get people like this. But it actually made me push more to the point where I've, you know, traveled. I've played with major artists. I've recorded in Nashville. I've had the pleasure of, you know, recording with Alan Jackson, Reba McEntire, and stuff like that. You know,
wow.
so it was kind of a push. You know, it was kind of a shove to open up my mind. I didn't do it because I wanted to prove anybody wrong. I did it because it made me realize that I know that I could do it, type of thing. You know, so doing that for so many years, and then back in when I got to Vegas in '87, or yeah, it was in '87, early '87.
Mm-hmm.
You know, being a musician and talking to other cats and this other stuff, I would find myself kind of isolating what I do, isolating what I would write, you know, because I do filmmaking as well. So I kind of found myself isolating a lot. And I remember one evening having an experience that just blew my mind. It was a paranormal experience that just blew my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember thinking to myself, man, there's got to be a way. I know I can't be the only one to like experience this stuff. There's got to be a way to help those people, and there's got to be a way to help the deceased, you know? And
so for being a musician and then falling into you know, like you said, paranormal, it's just like sitting around. You know, obviously, to me, you know, I was told that you're like a ghost investigator or, you know, a paranormal investigator, and that's kind of stuff that kind of piqued my interest. You know, you being a musician and, you know, playing with Reba McEntire, and that's you know, that's great. You know, I mean, you know, it's a career, but now you've fallen into this, and literally, you know, how ghost hunters kind of blew up on the scene, and you know, on Travel Channel, and now you have you know, all these paranormal shows. And my thing is that sometimes I like to say it stays, but for myself, you know, being Catholic or, you know, Christian or what, it's not even about religion. Spirits do exist. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And that was one of the things that kind of piqued my interest. Like, you know, hey, you have to meet Charlie. So, I mean, how'd you just sitting around, you kind of experienced this, and then you kind of moved into this this field or this career field, or?
Well, it's kind of bizarre because you know, music will always be a part of my life, but after dealing with like Sony and all them, and Atlantic Records and Virgin, I will never be in that industry ever again because it was disgusting. You know, how they treat people, how it happens, how it works. It's absolutely disgusting. But besides that, you know, when I experienced that, I talked to a friend of mine that knew somebody. His name was Doug Drensky III. Okay, and now back in 1987, this guy was 85 years old, and this guy was incredible. So he was actually close friends with Ed and Lorraine Warren. And so I started talking to him. I went over his house, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, what did this guy, what did this person that I knew, I was like, well, where is he sending me? Is this guy going to kill me, or what's like, you know, because he was a very eclectic man, but very, very respectful and just like super responsible. You know what I mean? Like no joking around. I mean, this guy was on point. And so I sat with him, I met with him, and he became my mentor. And he taught me a lot of old school techniques that were passed down to him from like Ed and Lorraine Warren, and which is in some cases a little strange because Ed Warren was a self-taught demonologist, but, you know, Lorraine more being into the psychic abilities and also an investigator. It was one of those things that I really started paying attention because I'm thinking, okay, I wonder if this guy's just giving information, or is it because he actually believes in it and has experienced it? Mm-hmm. And that's what it was. You know, this guy really knew what he was doing, and he's experienced it and told me things that I was like, are you kidding me right now? My first investigation ever was at the Plaza Hotel downtown Las Vegas with him.
Okay.
And that's, when Doug sat down, and he says, "You listen to me. You're gonna do exactly what I tell you, because if you don't, I will kick your ass up and down the stairs till next Tuesday." Okay. Whatever that means, but okay. I mean, I'm just sitting here. So he told me that there was a gentleman that worked in maintenance at the Plaza Hotel back then, and the back stairs going up and down through the building. I guess the gentleman was in one of the floors where there was a hallway and a closet, or like a maintenance closet that was probably a good 150 feet long inside. It was a long corridor. And apparently, according to what Doug said, the guy went to work one day, went in there, the door slammed shut on him. The guy couldn't open it. He was, scared, screaming. The lights were out. He quit, never came back. So I'm like, huh. So now, I mean, there's so much I can say about it. Back then, I didn't know anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was our first investigation. And he was telling me how to approach things, how to respect things, and so on and so forth. And when we went and did the investigation, I'll tell you what, man, back then, if I didn't have balls, I'll tell you right now that I definitely felt them grow that night. Because after what we experienced, he literally had the door open and he put a cinder block next to the doors to keep it open.
All right.
We walked halfway in to the hallway, and like somebody slammed the door to the point where it slid the cinder block and slammed the door, and the lights went out and all this other stuff. And he was like, I wasn't like freaking out. I was like, no way, this is insane. And he says, just keep mellow, because I know exactly what's going on and you need to keep shut. And that's what we did, and little by little, I learned from him. I did a lot with him, to the point where now, I mean, I've investigated a lot of these notorious places across the U.S.,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been one hell of a ride. I can tell you that.
One thing that our mutual friend said, hey, ask him about the asylum. The asylum. What does that mean? That you invest in an asylum, and he's like, just ask Charlie that. And I was like, all right.
Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay, didn't they do like a show or a documentary or something on that assignment?
They did, actually. They've done many different documentaries. Ghost Hunters has been there.
There it is. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. And the bizarre thing is, the first time I was asked to do that investigation was back in '91, before Charles and Tina Mattingly owned it. And there was just this God bless him, he was the coolest guy ever. This black security, he was a black security guard that he basically, I guess, kind of like a caretaker in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And he got my information. He called me and he says, can you come down here to do an investigation? All this stuff, right? And what it boiled down to was, look, I need to be in this place alone, okay, for a few nights. I can't have like interruption, blah, 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 this and that. And he says, brother, you do whatever you want, because I ain't joining you. I'll never forget him saying that. Now this place, there was over 63,000 deaths of tuberculosis, and a lot of people that pass away because of experimental trying to help with this disease and everything else. But starting off in the morgue and stayed the night in the morgue, and going on to different areas, different floors, and some of the hot spots. And then I was there not that long ago as well, but this particular investigation, it was incredible, the activity that was in this place. I mean, I have all kinds of footage on tape. I have a lot of audio stuff. and the fascination to tell myself, okay, there's got to be some way to help these spirits,
Mm-hmm.
because some of them, I know can be more of a deceiving type of thing where, you can be used, or something can be used as a conduit for something negative to come through, and most people will relate poltergeist to something really, really bad, when poltergeist is actually just a German word for noisy ghost, basically. So when I'm dealing with this kind of stuff and I was seeing what I was seeing and hearing what I was hearing, I was like, okay, yeah, there's definitely something that has to be done to help. And now, in a situation like that, there's only so much you can do, because you're talking about a facility that's over 100,000 square feet and with all kinds of energy that's like, yeah, I was like fresh meat to this thing. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like I could have easily had isolated myself, have an anxiety attack or whatever. But, being who I am and what I do, I always tell people, in order to understand the deceased, you got to respect them.
Yes.
And that's why I tell people, you got to be more afraid of the living than the dead. That's a fact. That's like a given fact. But Waverly Hills has been one of the biggest influential cases for me to sit there and understand how to approach an investigation, only because of so many types of energy that was there. Everything from, guests, family members, children, employees that died there, and so on and so forth. So there's a mixture of everything. And there's also a lot that, you've had transients in that place going in there and doing seances, trying to bring up who knows what, a succubus of some sort. I don't know. but I actually talked to a guy that I was finally able to talk to years ago. Apparently this guy was hush hush for a long time. And the reason being is because he went in there. He went to kind of document the place. And I know exactly the room he's talking about, because I went in there. I'll never forget. You go up the stairs, turn left on the third floor. And as you go down that hallway, just to your left, there's like a room with no windows. You can walk right in. Within 5 feet, you turn left, and it's like a square room. I'll never forget it. And this guy not only teared up, but he says, when I came in here and I was documenting everything that was still in the building and what was going on, I turned around, looked at the wall, he said, and all I see is this black figure with wide open eyes coming at me. And he says, I ain't going to lie. He goes, I ran out of there screaming so loud I had no voice, and I peed myself. He goes, I didn't want to talk to anybody. He goes, I was done. I was done. I didn't want to get paid for the job. I didn't want nothing to do with it. Zero. And you can see it in his eyes when you're talking, and you can just see it in his eyes. Mm-hmm. This guy was like, no, and so after the story, he goes, if it's okay, I'd rather be done talking about it. It really messed him up. So that was one of the rooms I stayed in by myself overnight. And
did you experience anything?
Well, there's quite a bit that I experienced, but the first thing I said was, if you're going to approach me, you better know goddamn well what you're doing. Pardon the language, but you better know goddamn well what you're doing, because I'm not afraid to communicate with you. Uh-huh. Period. So either you know or you do not. It's me. It's my camera, my voice recorder, and there you have it. And I had one of my cameras. It was a smaller camcorder. It was actually a high 8. It was on a tripod, and it knocked it over.
Wow.
And so when I watched the footage back, you can definitely hear the camera falling over, and you can hear all this distorted audio and stuff like that. So it was very trying. It was a very trying place, but I enjoyed it.
Well, I mean, what kind of tools do you need to literally, go into these settings? I mean, like you said, obviously you need a set of balls. But do you carry a Bible? Do you carry some holy water, a cross, or garlic? I mean, how do you prepare yourself to even encounter these unknowings?
Well, believe it or not, it's going to depend on the individual if they have a strong religious belief.
Uh-huh.
If they do, which I think is great. If they don't, that's fine as well. But if you do have a religious belief, it's important to really go by how you function with your religion. Now, I'm a religious person. I'm more spiritual than anything, but I respect all religions by any mean. You know what I mean? So for myself, the important things is a digital voice recorder, my infrared camera, infrared light, and EMF detector to do an EMF sweep for electromagnetic field. These are the just the minor things that will get me by, no problem. I see people now today. Everybody, even Hello Kitty is a paranormal investigator. Jesus Christ! I mean, everybody's a paranormal investigator. But when I see some of this stuff, when I watch some of these things, they don't know the first thing about it, and I get really annoyed by it because people they'll buy a bunch of gadgets and then call themselves investigators, and they don't know the first thing about it. Versus, okay, if I'm going to investigate, like when I went to the Myrtles Plantation in St. Francisville, Louisiana, it was about understanding the history, not just knowing it.
Right.
I understand the history and why certain things occurred and this and that and everything else. It's going to allow me to establish a ground, basically like this ground of like my own home base of how what I'm going to allow and what I'm not going to allow.
Right.
That kind of thing. I mean, you can bring a cross. You can bring all these things to help you.
Right.
I think the best, depending on the person, for me, it doesn't bother me. But if you're one of those people that really get freaked out easily, the best tool for you is, oh shit, I'm out of here, and you run.
Right.
Okay. But there's so much more to it.
So you're saying
there's so much more to it.
A good pair of running shoes. You should.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen people even now. I mean, I was watching this thing the other day, and I can't remember who sent me the link, and they asked me if it was legit. And so I was watching it, and there's this investigator, God bless him, but he knew absolutely nothing about it. And two, what people are starting to do, they're getting their like a voice box, a white noise generator is what I'm used to calling it. But you get a voice box, and hopefully with the white noise extracting whatever energy is manifesting in that area, and hopefully it'll communicate with you. And now people are using those voice boxes to plug into a guitar amp, and they're using guitar pedals to echo so they can hear it. Look at
it. Sound check? Is that sound check?
The guy was saying, there's a special frequency and it echo. Look, okay, look at it. It's a guitar pedal. Okay, you're talking to somebody who's been into music forever. A guitar pedal carries a frequency that basically, when it's picking up the frequency from a guitar, it basically rounds it out and throws it back so it doesn't feedback. That's what these pedals do. That way, it can recognize what's coming out of the pickup of the guitar, right? So the frequencies that those carry are completely irrelevant and completely worthless when you're trying to do EVP or use a white box or a voice box or a white noise generator, because that can inaccurately influence what you're getting. And people don't understand that. They get the stuff that they get these boxes. Oh my God, look at this box that's lighting up. Look at me. It's lighting up. There's a ghost. No. These things are novelty things, and they're built with algorithms. Right. Believe it or not, they are. They're built with algorithms. So after So if I say, "Are you Joe? And did you die?" Yeah, you ask that 20 times, that algorithm is going to let off because it's built for a novelty. It's not built like a camera is built for a camera.
Right.
Okay. So I've had somebody ask me, "Hey, Charlie, what's the best app out there you can use for your phone for paranormal investigations?" I says, "Look, your telephone is built to be a phone. Okay. Has transmitter for receiving. You can talk to somebody and listen to audio. Okay. The only thing you can use on your phone for paranormal is either photos or a voice recorder. That's it. Anything else, there are no apps to find ghosts. Your phone doesn't have the special mechanism to recognize that, to work that way, to give you those results."
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
No, but now you say with these apps and everybody's buying all these machines, and now I'm interested in some of the shows that are on TV. Sometimes I think some of it's staged.
Oh.
Uh, now, now, obviously, you being an investigator, tell me your thoughts on that. I mean, we had where I work at here in the city. One of our building that we work in it's haunted. I know, and because I feel presence, and I believe in it. So they sent the ghost hunters in there, and they picked up on certain things, but sometimes I think some things are staged. Hey, I experienced something. How come you didn't experience it? You know what I mean? Maybe the ghost was off that day. I don't know. I mean, maybe he took a holiday, a vacation then when you came through. But I've experienced certain things, and again, some TV shows, and people have traveled from across the world because they see this stuff on TV.
Sure.
And they're like, "Hey, we just want to check out the building." Hey, more than welcome to, so sometimes, even not just that show, but other shows that you think, some of it is truth, with the markings on the body. Okay, I get it. But what are your thoughts?
Well, when I started, doing this, there was really nobody doing it. I mean, other than like Ed and Lorraine Warren or back in those days, but in the modern day, like in 2000, 99, 87, all the, when I was doing this, nobody was really doing it. So I was definitely a freak of nature to people. Now,
I can see this. Someone that goes chasing and not to just wait for it. That's kind of freakish to me,
Well, a lot of people found it very difficult to deal with, very hard to believe, but it was something that I wasn't there to try to prove them wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I was more trying to get what I've experienced, what I've dealt with, and share that with them and let them understand. And then Ghost Hunters came out.
Right.
With Jason and Grant Wilson. Now, right now, they have their own teams. Grant Wilson was the founder of Ghost Hunters. So that's back out again, but it's only with him and his people. Jason, I think it's called Ghost Nation or something. Now, them two I like a lot because they're very legit. They're real. They're very realistic. They're understanding about situations. They will have a conversation talking about the pros and cons and stuff like that. And that's like a total gut feeling that I just feel. Now there's another group or another TV show. There's another TV show out there many years ago. Well, I'm not going to say many. Let's just say about 5-6 years ago. I used to put out some stuff on YouTube, and I still do. Every now and then I'd create something, whatever, about what I was experiencing. And I guess a producer from this particular TV show came across it, and they reached out to me. Now, thank God I had somebody there with me because they heard it for themselves. They were there. Gentlemen wanted to get together, talk about whatever. So I'm like, okay. He came over, literally, right there in front of me and this other individual. They said, so now I see that you have a lot of very unique stuff that you've collected. Well, yeah, I mean, I collect a lot of antiques and, just different things, I like it. Is any of it haunted? I mean, I couldn't tell you that, I said, because honestly, I didn't buy it with the purpose of it being a paranormal thing. I just bought it because I like it.
Right.
And they're like, well, would you be willing to make up a story for one of the episodes? And I said, no. And I go, you're going to have to leave, Yeah. And so, he left. A couple years later, a female producer reached out. That's part of this show.
Uh-huh.
And, hey, what happened to my thing?
I don't know. There you go.
Oh, there we go. She reached out to me and she said, hey, I see that you've been doing a lot. And the house that I purchased now was a house that was developed, or the development was designed by Liberace. It's a very old home. It's got character, all this other stuff. And there is a ton of activity here, right? So I've posted stuff on that.
Okay.
And she says, hey, I'd like to have this particular team that's very adventurous, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
To come out and do a show there. I says, look, in all due respect, I already know what that's all about, and that's not something I want to be a part of, nor do I want my reputation a part of that. That's just the way I function, but I appreciate it. And that was it. And then I never heard back again. Mm-hmm. But staging stuff like that is a slap in the face.
Right.
It's disgraceful. It's disrespectful to the living and the deceased, especially the deceased.
Right.
And I'm sorry. The chances of a human being during an investigation being possessed immediately,
right,
are pretty slim.
Okay.
Pretty slim. Now, dealing with a lot of activity or something happening or dealing with poltergeist, sure. I mean, that could happen. But where you get possessed just because you want to look at a pillow and you go into convulsions.
Okay.
Look, I'm sorry. That's not my gig.
Yeah, I've heard of spirits attaching themselves to certain people, and just seeking out I guess guidance. It's happened to me. My daughter is one of those gifted people that can literally walk into a room and then spirits just gravitate to her and then want to tell her the story. You know what I mean? So literally, where I worked at, someone passed away, and it wasn't a coworker or anything. It was like a customer, and literally rode home in the car with me. And as soon as I walked in the door, my daughter says, "Hey, did anybody pass away?" I was like, "Not that I know of." Oh, but we're holding some kind of living of life kind of celebration at work where people are just hanging out and it's talking about them, and then she's like, okay, that gentleman, he came home with you, and I told him he had to leave because this is not his house. You know what I mean? So. So I was kind of freaked out about that. But then more and more, my daughter, when she was young, she experienced, night terrors and all this stuff. So we couldn't understand, what was really going on. And then now she's older, much stronger. And then she can literally just, sit down and like, oh, so-and-so passed away. They're here right now. They wanted to tell you that, if you're looking for a wedding ring, it's located under the bed, next to the headboard, and they would go back, search it, and then there it was. So,
Awesome.
yeah. So when our mutual friend said, "Hey man, you gotta talk to Charlie," I was like, "Wow, hey, I'm down." You know what I mean? So I really believe in this, and what you've experienced, and literally venturing out into the asylum. I was like, it's because. That's brave, man. I mean, you got to set a balls. I'm just saying, it's not me. Because my daughter would walk into my workplace and she was like, "Dad, you know what? I can't go upstairs, in this establishment because the activity's too much. There's so much there, or I can't be in this office because there's somebody that is there and is bad news." You know what I mean, kind of thing. So she stays away from the negativity, and then obviously just does herself, and then kind of shuts it off. But she's ventured out to Georgia, and literally, and I'm sure you can relate. She called me. She's like, "Dad, you know what? We were driving down this road, beautiful road with the trees. It was just a beautiful road with trees and covering. It looked like it was like a nice." Like a gateway kind of thing. And her vision was literally hanging bodies from these trees. Wow. She visualized all the bodies hanging from the trees going down this road. And she's like, "Wow," started tearing up. And then I was like, when she told me that, I was like, "You know what? You were in the South. That's Georgia. That was literally the roughest, rough times back in the South." So that's, and then she went into a lot of stuff that, she even told me when she went to my sister's house that when she got there, she couldn't sleep because there was so much spirits and everything happening, so much energy in the house. And they wouldn't let her sleep because they just wanted to talk and talk. And she would tell me, what's going on. And the next morning, come to find out, my sister didn't tell her that, "Oh yeah, by the way, there's a pond behind her house, but behind that there's a cemetery." Oh. So everything you've told me, I believe in it. And I would love for you to even meet my daughter. She's actually on her way in the next. She's on her way from work over here, and she's like really using her gift to help people through rough times, and also projecting a positivity by doing these tarot cards or angel cards, as she calls it. Just to show positivity. She just hates negativity, and when you meet her, I'm sure you will soon.
Yeah, I'd love to.
And soon, and then she will. She's all about positivity. And she doesn't, like I said, and she's just there to help people, and that's it. But she's kind of freaked me out how many times is that when you look at somebody that has passed away, that's been in your life, as like a big brother or a matriarch of the family. In my case, would be my grandfather, and she would say, "Oh yeah, he's sitting on the couch." And he's laughing at you, So it's like, I totally understand what you're doing, and what the interest is, and then it just hits home every time I talk to my daughter. So just give me a little bit of why I was so interested in, and I love talking to you. It's great.
Oh, I think that's awesome. I mean, it's especially when you have somebody like her who's got this type of sixth sense of seeing and being able to understand the surroundings like instantaneously, and that can be hard sometimes, I'm sure.
No. And she's told me, she's like, it is, sometimes it's so rough that things that are just coming through that she can't really explain, and she just like says, "You know what, turn it off, see you later, and if you don't like it, see you later." And when she's also walked into certain situations where she's restricting on air because there's something so much, that powerful presence in certain areas, and then she's like, "You know what? See you later. I'm out." And I'm not supposed to be here. So I would love for her to meet you. If that'd be awesome. That'd be cool.
Yeah, we definitely need to set that up for sure. I think that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
And then for you, living in a place, and and our mutual friend said, "Hey, he lives in a place that he's not alone." I was like, "What?" That gets me, man. That's a set of balls. If anything, I'll be gone already.
Well, you know what? I think I may have to show up at his house and put a sheet over me and walk around the house.
Well, he said that about you. He said you're a character. You like to, entertain others or be entertained.
Oh yeah, I work in the medical field for the most part, and there's this older gal that goes in there to get some of the equipment that we have, and I'll be hiding. I'll scare the living crap out of her.
That's what he said.
Yeah, like 5 times in one day, and it's like I don't know. It's so stupid. It's so juvenile, but it's so awesome. It's like it is. It's juvenile, but it's so great.
No, but for understanding what you've done, learning, being the investigator that you are, and then and following through as somebody throwing a sheet over their head and scaring somebody out, scaring the bejesus out of people. I can see that now.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that look at if somebody, as this woman says every time I scare her, ooh, she always goes every time after I scare her. She goes, I'm tinkled. It just cracks me up.
I can't wait to meet you in person, Charlie. I'm telling you.
Oh, that would be amazing. I think that would be amazing. Hey, I'll tell you what. If you ever come down here, you have a place to stay. You're welcome.
Yeah, I live here in Henderson, and I'm all right, man. Thank you, though.
Oh, okay.
I'm all right. Thank you. Thank you for the invite. But maybe coffee or something like that. Yeah, I'm down with that. Staying over the night. I don't want to overstay my welcome. I'll take the cup of coffee though.
No, you'll have a good time, especially like around 1 a.m. ish. It'll be a little more pleasant.
And you're
make some friends.
So, with the investigation side, a musician, you said you do video or film. You're producing film as well. I saw some on YouTube, and that's pretty cool, man. That's very mysterious at what you get into.
A lot of the stuff that, I do a lot of crazy stuff. A lot of the stuff, believe it or not, because I didn't feel like setting up a lot of my gear. A lot of the stuff that you see, it was shot on my phone and edited on my phone.
Wow.
And, but, I have stuff that was shot with my real gear, I should say, that I want to put together, my own documentary that I'm working on. But I'm actually in the process of working on sound design and a soundtrack for a feature film that I got hired for.
Wow.
So once I'm done with that, I'll be able to pick back up full-time on the documentary that I'm doing. But to keep my mentality awake and to keep my positive thinking going, I'm always creating these little things and these little videos, and I'll put them up, and a lot of them are just freak shows, I guess, or just little creepy things here and there. And people are just like, I don't know what's wrong with you, but and it's just like, look, man, nothing's wrong. It's just, look, I
think I can connect you with some people that have the same, I guess, a creative mind as you. I think I have a few friends that are in that boat. If you show, can you tell our guests, if they want to check out some of your stuff on YouTube, how do they get a hold of that?
Oh, they could just type in my name, Charlie Rivero, Haunted and Alone, and they'll see a bunch of my stuff. Or they can even just go to hauntedandalone.com, right, and they can go there and check it out if they really wanted to, But I think that the one thing I could tell people, if anybody is dealing with any type of activity in their home, at work, or they're personally dealing with something that's bothering them, is don't be afraid to communicate about it. Most people sit there and may think, oh, this person's going to think I'm crazy, or
Right.
what. And it's like, look, it's no crazier than me doing the investigation.
Right. So,
Okay, it's important.
So they can get a hold of you at Charlie Rivero at what was the website again?
The website is hauntedandalone.com.
Okay.
They can actually get a hold of me through there, and they're welcome to reach out if they want to. I can exchange numbers and just do whatever is needed to help them out. So that's important for people to understand that there's somebody out there that's willing to help, and not like, hey, I'm going to have 75 people in your house doing an investigation.
Right.
No, that ain't going to work.
Right.
That ain't going to.
No, we got to get you in the studio, and we got to meet in person, and we can talk more. But I'd like to thank you for joining me here on the line, and so enjoyable. I love the stories, and I'm a person that believes, man. I believe in what you do. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you having me, and hopefully we can chat soon, and let's get together soon, because if I tell you some of the other stories, you may move out of Vegas.
No, actually, I'm going to have you back on. So we're going to keep this going. We're going to keep this going. So, you're not going to get off the hook like that. But thank you very much, Charlie. And you have a blessed weekend, and continue to stay safe. All right.
You do the same. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.